FM News. Good afternoon, I'm Daniel Monroy. Today we'll have a brief morning showers or two and clouds giving way to some sun. Right now it's 19 degrees. A climate change expert says Canada isn't doing enough to prevent tragedies similar to the deadly flash flooding that hit Texas early on Friday. Karen Reboot from the Canadian Press has more.
Ryan Ness of the Canadian Climate Institute says climate change is making flash flooding worse, and this country needs to invest in flood mapping, infrastructure, and early warning systems.
Until we do, the damage will get worse and worse and more frequent.
Flash floods have hit Canada in recent years, including in Coquitlam, BC, where an atmospheric river triggered a mudslide that killed a teacher in October. And in Toronto, torrential rain overwhelmed drainage last July and caused nearly $1 billion in insured losses. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
Health officials in London are dealing with an outbreak of Legionnaires' disease, a serious lung infection.
The Middlesex London Health Unit has declared an outbreak of Legionnaires' disease in London, Ontario. As of this week, 43 cases have been confirmed in 2025, with 1 death reported. Most cases are linked to a 6 kilometers area in the city's southeast. Legionnaires' disease is a serious lung infection caused by breathing in water droplets containing Legionella bacteria. It's not spread from person to person. Health officials are testing potential sources, including cooling system and water system. The investigation is ongoing. Anyone with fever, cough, or shortness of breath is advised to seek medical attention.
Thousands of concertgoers saw some improvements to crowd controls last night at Toronto's Rogers Stadium following the first of 4 shows by Coldplay at the new outdoor venue. David Bolts has the story.
Crowds were still streaming out steadily more than half an hour after the show ended, as staff held up red lights and instructed groups to wait and enter the nearest subway station in batches. It appeared to be a far cry from last Sunday's concert-going experience, when some attendees at the venue's inaugural show said it took up to 2 hours to exit the stadium. However, some still felt like they were lucky to leave Rogers Stadium without any major trouble. Adam Archdeacon says getting out was a challenge.
You don't understand how they thought they'd put 50,000 people in a stadium and give 2 ways out.
Archdeacon says it took him roughly 40 minutes to leave the grounds. David Bowles, The Canadian Press.
As U.S. President Donald Trump pursues his global trade war and talk to annexation, a new poll suggests that the percentage of Canadians who view the United States as top threat has tripled since 2019. Kelly Malone has more.
The survey by the Pew Research Center says 20% of Canadians saw the United States as a threat in 2019, but that ballooned to 59% in 2025. The polling also shows 55% of Canadians say the U.S. remains the country's most important ally. The center polled people in 25 countries, and the nation most commonly cited as a critical ally was the U.S. But the United States was also named as the top threat in 8 of these countries. Many people in Europe cited Russia as the top threat, and those in the Asia-Pacific region commonly pointed to China. Kelly Malone, The Canadian Press, Washington.
London's housing market is showing signs of stability after a slow spring due to global uncertainty. XFM reporter Theodore Ramarak has the details.
June marked a turning point in the 2025 housing market, showing signs of recovery after a slow spring. Sales were down compared to last year, but Dale Marsh from the London and St. Thomas Association of Realtors noted the change.
Early on in the springtime, we're down 19% in the number of home sales for the area, and now we're down 14.6%. So we're still down, but it seems to be going in the right direction now.
Prices dropped 4% from May, but remain largely stable year over year, and lower interest rates are encouraging buyers to return to the market. There's a noticeable shift in buyer behavior as well.
We're at a point where there's some pent-up demand, where people want to make a move, and at some point they just have to pull the trigger and say, okay, enough is enough. We're going to do it now, and they're jumping into the market now at this point.
With competition heating up for sellers and motivated buyers entering the market, all signs suggest a more active second half of the year. Theodore Ramarak, XFM News.
In sports, in the MLB, the Toronto Blue Jays won 8-4 yesterday against the Chicago White Sox, and both teams will also face today at 7:40 p.m. and tomorrow at 2 p.m. The Detroit Tigers demolished the Tampa Bay Rays yesterday for a score of 1-5, and both teams will also face today at 6 p.m. and tomorrow at 1 p.m. In the Club World Cup, Fluminense is facing Chelsea for the semifinals of the tournament at 3 p.m. and the Inter Miami is playing tomorrow versus the Revolution after they won against Montreal. XFM traffic. Dufferin Avenue is closed from Richmond Street to Talbot Street for repairs. Lane restriction remain in place along Adelaide Street Bridge from King Street to Horton Street for construction. If you have a traffic or news tip, call 519-455-NEWS. That's 455-6397. Your Environment Canada forecast. Today we'll have a mix of sun and clouds and a high of 27. Tomorrow will be mostly cloudy and rainy, and on Thursday will be cloudy with some sun in the afternoon. Right now it's 19 degrees. Find more news online anytime at 1069dx.com.